Hello, I'm Shawn Kent Hayashi. In this video, I'll share 3 mistakes leaders and managers make, and I'll also share how to avoid them. Then, apply these ideas if you want to become a star performer, grow to the next level, or become a more inspiring leader. I'm an executive coach and a high-performing teams consultant. I work with organizations of all sizes, from small, family-owned businesses and entrepreneurial startups to industry-leading organizations. I help leaders and teams become high-performing together. Let's dive in. A leader of a national chain called me sharing his frustration that his directors were not creative, they weren't solving problems together, and they weren't coming up with ideas to grow the business. He wanted something done to solve this weakness in his entire leadership team. I suggested meeting them and watching a team meeting where they discussed what was currently happening in the business, as well as when he asked for suggestions, what actually happened. Well, what unfolded was not uncommon. As the leader asked for suggestions, members of the team would begin to speak up. They would start to share new insights and budding ideas. However, the leader would jump in, sometimes interrupting people in mid-sentence. He would tell them why their idea was a bad idea. I watched him squash several ideas, and then I watched people sit silently. Afterwards, when I talked one-on-one with the individuals on this team, they shared with me that this was a very typical type meeting for them. It was very common for this leader to ask for suggestions and then not be willing to listen. What this leader did not realize was that he was creating the problem. This leader didn't know how to listen well. He didn't know how to facilitate discussion and ask questions that invited people to collaborate together and to keep building on new ideas, new insights. To solve this, I spoke very directly with him, explaining that it was not really the team that needed coaching and skill development. It was actually him. His mistake was not practicing deep listening and creating an environment for collaboration in conversation. I taught him how to ask questions and then how to deeply listen to ideas when they were not fully developed plans already. See my videos on deep listening if this is a skill that you would benefit from developing. The next step was to teach him how to play to people's strengths and cover their blind spots. We did this by holding a high-performing team retreat for the entire group. We created a common language for them to be able to collaborate more effectively together. Another common mistake that leaders make is one that I saw play out recently when a senior vice president of global sales, Mark, hired a new vice president of sales for the Northeast Territory. Her name was Lisa. After a few months with the new vice president, Lisa, in the role, the senior vice president, Mark, was still answering questions directly from the directors who reported into Lisa, and Mark wasn't including her in those conversations. You see, they were going around Lisa and creating a black hole. This was a setup for failure for Lisa because she was excluded from the evolving thinking, and she was blindsided several times with client issues that had been escalated over her head without her knowledge. We addressed this by having Mark begin to say to people, what did Lisa say to you when you discussed this with her? And if Lisa's direct reports had not talked with Lisa, but had gone straight to Mark, then Mark was to say, please discuss this with Lisa, and if you both want to connect with me after that, then feel free to do so. By including Lisa in these conversations, she's able to learn and contribute. Lisa will not be able to be successful in her role if she's left out of important policy decisions about how to handle client issues. There are several takeaways from this story. Don't create black holes where people are left out of conversations and decision making, particularly when they own the role and the authority to be involved. Also, encourage people who come to you to talk directly with the person who owns the right to make that decision. And if they don't agree or they can't identify a solution together, then they're welcome to come to you. My third example is something that happened to me yesterday. I went to a charming little house shop. While I was there, I purchased several things, including some charming Easter eggs that were in a traditional type of Easter grass, and they also had lovely feathers woven into them. I was told this was the last set of these eggs that shop had available, and they didn't have the box that the eggs belonged in. I asked if I could have the grass with them in a bag in lieu of the box. There were 4 salespeople in this little shop standing around the checkout area. All of them heard this conversation, and several of them helped to get the eggs in the bag with the right greenery and feathers and so forth. After I paid for all of my items, including the eggs, the owner of the store came from the back. She realized that they had sold me the eggs with a handful of Easter grass. With a very terse tone of voice, she snapped at the sales associate and said that they could not sell the Easter grass and that I must return the bag with the items in it. I realized I didn't really want the eggs without the grass and the feathers, so they refunded me this purchase, and I left stunned at what the manager had done. Do you catch the mistake here? She was teaching her staff that they were not allowed to make decisions without her input. She will find herself wondering why they are not competent to think for themselves, and what she doesn't realize is it's her own behavior that's setting up this dynamic with her team. What she needed to do was thank me for coming into the store and let her associates' decision stand as it was. Then, after I left the store, she could have said something like, going forward, the little bit of Easter grass is not for sale. Or she could have asked her associates what happened, since she really wasn't aware of the whole story, nor was she aware of how much I had purchased. If she had higher emotional intelligence, she would not have felt that hijack and made those snarky comments, making the scolding accusations towards her team members, and she wouldn't have taken a sale away from a longtime customer. If you realize that emotional intelligence is a skill that you or someone on your team needs to develop, please watch our videos on that topic too. Now, you can avoid making these type of mistakes and be a better leader. Here are some coaching next steps. Develop and practice the skill of deep listening. Don't squash budding new ideas. Instead, encourage collaboration for people to build on each other's ideas and to create new solutions together. Facilitate discussions for exploring new possibilities with your team. Include the right decision makers in conversations, and don't create black holes. Master your emotional intelligence so that you make great decisions and you develop both customers and employees. If you would like guidance, direction, and accountability in developing new skills for yourself or your whole team, I'd be delighted to talk with you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. To learn more about the Professional Development Group, check out our website at theprofessionaldevelopmentgroup.com. Thanks for joining me.